mic.
What am I? I've done that a couple times. It's actually. Oh, I should probably stop.
I mean, nobody's on there.
That's a good open.
You're here, so no one's watching.
All right, here we go. And 5, 4, 3.
Welcome, everyone, and pull up a seat at the table. It's lunchtime in Rome. Tonight's episode 263 is titled Bjorn. Who is Bjorn? Bjorn sits at the table with us very often. He's our most loyal YouTube viewer, and we can't wait for you to get to know our good friend and brother, Bjorn. We'll be talking with and about him at the table this evening. So pull up a seat at the table and join us. First-time listeners can subscribe on your favorite podcast app or watch us live or later on YouTube at Lunchtime in Rome. Also, visit us at lunchtimeinrome.com, and while there, you can take our relational needs questionnaire. Make sure to follow us on all social media, and it would be great if you could give us a 5-star review. Jay, what specifically is this podcast about?
Being alone is the worst. Good times aren't as good, and bad times are worse when you're all alone. Romans 12:15 says to rejoice with those who rejoice and mourn with those who mourn. That is how you keep people from being alone, and what this podcast is all about. We demonstrate that in the first 15 minutes of the podcast, and we talk about it for the rest. So while it may not be 12:15 in Rome, we're treating it like it is
Lunchtime in Rome.
Wait a minute. Tonight was supposed to be Those Were the Days. Yeah, that's what it was, wasn't it? Yeah, those were the days.
You teased that out there, and you got people to respond. And
you know what? We're gonna go ahead.
I responded.
We're gonna hold it. Yeah, Bjorn really responded, and we were supposed to catch up this late weekend, early this week, and sure enough, we're gonna do it tonight. So all of you who unknowingly posted on my Facebook page, not knowing that it's going to go on the podcast, are going to have to wait. And we're going to save that, and we're going to do it another time. So we're going to get to know Bjorn tonight, because this is a gift. He hasn't been back in Pittsburgh in 8 years.
It's 8 years, yeah.
8 years. So let's catch up with high energy Chris and Eric, and then we'll get to Bjorn here in a minute.
Hi, everybody. This is high. No. Yeah, he's joking because I said I'm very low energy tonight. I'm all right. It's always a pleasure to be with you, gentlemen. And, of course, obviously, that means Brian is out of town. He's off dealing with icebergs or something. I don't know. It's something to do with ice. That's all I know. As for me, living life, having a good time. I don't
You really are low energy, by the way. I kind of want you to stop talking.
Turn it down a little bit, actually.
I don't have any, real interesting update. I am excited.
Oh, yeah.
You sound like it.
Really?
Based on your being awake.
Hang on. Let me sit down. Okay, I'm ready. Hit us with it.
I'm I can't even get a sentence out.
This is so good.
I'm excited to be here with you guys. I really don't have a lot more than that. I wish I had this
It's
amazing
fine. I think
update.
everybody, no, but there's your update.
Yeah.
Everybody knows, hey, Chris, he's a little weathered.
Yeah, feeling a little
But he's
weathered.
here. Mm-hmm. He manned up, and he was like, I could cancel. I don't want to miss Bjorn, and I don't know he's going to be there.
Right.
I have one
That's
that you
right.
can join
It
me
was-
in, Chris.
I can join you?
Yeah.
Please.
So we had game night up at church on Friday.
Ooh, I was there.
Nice.
Yes. And we played a game called Sheriffs of Nottingham.
Spirit Island.
Oh, no. It's right over there if you want to break it out, though.
No, I'm good. I gave that up for October.
Someday.
Someday we're going to play that game. No, we actually did play it. But anyway, shout out to Jeremy from church.
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
brought
Jeremy.
it. And it might be one of my favorite games that we've ever played.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Nice. That's
yeah.
cool.
It's different and fun. And actually, I think Jay might like it.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's not like heavy rule based.
Okay, then. It's got a shot.
And there's a lot of negotiating.
Yes.
I
It's
like
all
that.
about being a good talker
And bribing
Yeah.
and getting people to do what you need them to do.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, it's very fun.
Manipulation.
Yeah, I'm telling you,
Right
dude.
up your alley.
I'm telling you, you would love it. But it was very fun. It was a very fun night.
And I was glad
kids were there.
to meet Jeremy. That was my first time. I mean, I've seen him at church,
Yeah,
but I've never
yeah,
had a
'cause he was at the last one.
conversation
Yeah,
with him.
Yeah, but you weren't there.
Right. And
Pretty
what a
chill
cool
dude.
guy. Chill guy, super and I mean this, if you know me, you know I mean this in the best possible way. Super nerdy gamer dude.
He lights
Which
up
fits
when you
in
talk-
with us,
Yeah.
That's a
with
gift.
Eric and I. Yeah, just
Because if you just talk to him, he's quiet, and,
Okay.
and but when you get a game in front of him, Boom.
He was great at explaining it. I love
Yes.
a person who's great at explaining a
Yes,
game.
yes.
You know,
And
Well,
you-
recognizes like.
yeah. I do enjoy explaining a game. I do. I don't know if I'm good at it.
No,
'cause
you're good at it.
I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
you're good at figuring out the
um,
rules. Yeah.
But yeah, Jeremy, I enjoyed listening to him explain a game. So that was a cool happening.
Yeah, it was very fun. And then we spent a lot of time at church this weekend. We were there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Sheesh.
What were you doing Friday? Or that was game night.
Oh, wait.
Friday.
What was Saturday?
Attaboy.
Work day, doing things up at the
Right. Yeah, I couldn't do that. Nah,
That's it. Yeah.
church. And then, obviously church on Sunday. But yeah, work day was good. Got a lot done. And Amy's big on decorating and getting the church
And I appreciate
spruced
that.
up. Yeah, me too.
Nice,
Because
nice.
it needs a good freshening up in a lot of different places. So, but yeah, it was a good time. Yeah, that's my update.
Yeah. I have gone from not even low energy, but like the last 2 weeks, haven't had a lot of appointments, not a lot of meetings. And it's really hard for me to be like, okay, because I know there are weeks when it's go time.
Yeah.
I am in the middle of go time week, and it's hilarious. Multiple funerals, multiple meetings, multiple planning, Penn Hills Hall of Fame banquet coming up that I'm so blessed to be inducted in.
Yeah.
But also, it occurred to me over the weekend when we were at family weekend for Bella for Mercyhurst. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. I'm still the MC for the Hall of Fame banquet. Like that alone every year is a big stressor and causes me I got to do a lot. And
Wait,
I'm
you're
on point.
emceeing your own banquet?
Yeah, you're dead gum right on.
Are you going to announce yourself and everything?
No, Mike P is going to.
That'd be hilarious.
I was asking around, like, who is actually going to be the person who
That
MCs?
might be
That is a great choice.
the highlight of my night.
Yeah, that
already.
is a great choice. But low key, I was kind of excited to like have you do
Our
your
next
own
inductee.
introduction. Yeah.
1000%. Oh my gosh.
That would be pretty great.
But even like today, I got a haircut, and then I went to pick up Bella, and I stopped and played disc golf in Grove City by myself. Very windy. Don't know why I went Trump there.
Yeah.
Very windy.
Very windy.
Very windy.
High winds. Milton's got nothing on these winds.
But up and back, talk on the phone, and it was so funny. I talked to Jan.
Jan.
Thank you. My administrator at the church, for those of you who aren't aware, and a couple. I've had a lot of awkward. My job title is I navigate awkward waters, and I've had to do that this week a couple times. And then she dropped a couple more on my lap, so I was like, all right, well, I'm not disc golfing with that on my mind.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting there in the car, text, email, text, and I get on the tee and I'm stretching, reply, and I'm like, no, all right, hey, let's close them out. Phone rings, somebody else awkward. Okay, all right, here we go. And it was just one of those times. And then it's only going to continue, but through Sunday when I take Bella back to school. So that'll be 4 trips to Erie in 9 days.
And is this, I missed it if you said it before, is this just like a fall break?
Fall
for
break.
her?
break.
They like to have family weekend the week before fall break.
I see. So she can so it's just like a one trip up for the family and.
No.
No.
He's been up 4 times.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, we went up
Oh,
Friday.
because she still had school, what,
Yeah, she had Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
Oh, my gosh.
And then at the end
I don't know
of,
if you know this, but Jay wasn't at church on Sunday.
I knew that. I thought I got my days confused. I thought you had no, because today you went disc golfing. See, my brain is just going to be a little behind
you're
today,
low
guys.
energy right now.
Yeah,
it's okay.
I'm just
it's
all right,
okay.
We should retitle the name of the show.
Yeah, low energy.
Yeah,
low energy Chris.
Yeah.
LEC. So then,
you will.
at the end of the month, Bella's play, which she had to have posture class last night for like
You say that.
Did she have to have like
Posture
books
class.
on her head and
No, it was more like Victorian posturing, and so she had to suck in her stomach, stick out her back, and she's funny. She says, "I don't move a lot," so that was a lot. So she's sore. But anyhow, the play is the weekend before Thanksgiving. That's
great.
So we're gonna go up
wow.
Friday night.
Yeah.
Go to the play, spend the night Friday, come home Saturday, go back Wednesday, pick her up for Thanksgiving. It's good times.
oh my gosh.
Good times.
Erie is beautiful this time of year too.
It is actually. It's lovely.
Well, you have the wineries and stuff. Yeah, it's very pretty.
A little north of
Foliage.
there.
You guys are a little north. Yeah, because you
No, the wine country's north and east of
Yeah, but it's-
Mercyhurst.
Oh, well, I mean.
Or west and south if you go into Ohio.
Ohio.
I've been to Ohio.
Wait, I didn't tell the story, and I'm taking way too long. We went to Keller's Museum of Magic, which is in downtown Erie. Who's Keller? He taught Houdini. And it's a really cool place.
Really?
And
He's still alive, too. That's magic.
there was a table in front of us that was a little bit, as they say, rowdy. Kind of like had a few too many. We had an argument, actually. Was the woman special needs or was she really drunk? I said both.
Wow.
But because it was awkward. Like Bella was getting angry because it's, not easy, normal, and somewhat uncomfortable. So she has to get angry about it. Where are they from? Corey, PA, which is where the Tremblays are from.
Oh, wow.
So I was dying not to be like, hey, you guys know Jim and Brenda? But I didn't do
Because
that.
there's only like 15 people that live there.
And then if not, they know them.
Now there's only 3 since the Tremblays left.
It's a big family at our church. Hey, we are so grateful, especially, but not exclusively, for Groot from Hooked on Jesus podcast for sitting at the head of the table, and Larianne and Bethany and Mary Lynn and Ashley and Breaking 90. If you want to be one of the many, increasing in number, who sit at the head of the table, just go to lunchtimeinrome.com. Become a paid subscriber, and you can help us have microphones that don't get staticky and all that kind of fun stuff.
Give us $1.
These are good.
Give us $1.
I'm going to get you a new cable, but you keep talking.
Yeah. I was going to make a joke about laying cable, but I'm not going to do that. Hey, Bjorn is with us, and Bjorn came, where did we meet at volleyball, I guess? Or was it Young Life before volleyball? It couldn't have been.
No, it was volleyball. It was JV volleyball, 9th grade. And then that obviously overlapped into Young Life.
It certainly did. So Bjorn is with us. Bjorn,
And that would have been, are we allowed to talk years here?
Sure.
Yeah,
So that would have been what, like 2001-ish,
2000.
right? 2000.
It's when you
Y2K.
Okay, Y2K.
'Cause that was my freshman year.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Yeah, so we didn't. I mean, we didn't even know if the Y2K. We were all freaked out about the
Jay
world
was
ending.
having big concerns back then about like whether his volleyball database was going to crash.
Yeah, I was very analytics forward.
Yeah.
I was Moneyball before Moneyball existed. Used a lot of analytics.
Big Short.
in that.
Yeah.
But Bjorn, give us the backstory. We're so excited that you're here. But
excited to be
Chris
here, too.
doesn't know you from a Hill of Beans. Eric's familiar with you. Is that a fair way to put it?
You guys know Hills of Beans. I know personally.
I've seen a couple.
And I will tell you this, my friend. You are no Hill of Beans. Dukakis.
Yeah.
Anyhow, no.
Is that Michael Dukakis? I don't
It
know.
was he said that to Quail.
Yeah. Okay.
You are
Old
no
school Bale.
JFK, or
Dan Quayle.
Dan Quayle.
Yeah.
Potato.
Potato or potatoes. He didn't know.
Potato-y.
He didn't know.
Potato. Both were okay.
Yeah.
So the point of the story is, who's Bjorn Trowery? Growing up, Penn Hills kid.
Yeah. So Jay, you and I met way back when in 2004. So I was actively trying to figure out what sport I was going to play. And volleyball was one of the sports that a couple of my other buddies were playing, and thought to myself that it was a perfect kind of, game for me to kind of figure out and learn.
Who were your friends that were playing that you joined?
Jeff Lennox.
Oh, so you were cool with Jeff back then, before that.
Yeah, Jeff and I go way back. But Jeff, and let's see, Mark Mastriano, Ryan Amicini, some of the other guys, Alex Davis. And basically I was like, all right, like I want to figure out which some of these like sports I can play. A lot of my buddies are playing this. And then volleyball kind of became my go-to.
Back then, so Penn Hills still has a guys team.
Yeah.
A lot of schools don't. Were they more common back then or less common? Anybody know?
Still less.
Still, yeah, but it hasn't changed. I was
No, there's
wondering
more
if-
now.
There's more. Okay, good. That's good.
We were still good then.
Exactly. It's good context because like we were like a pretty good, like historically, like, the program, and Jay, obviously you can talk about it, but it was a good team. Like it had good lineage. So maybe like some of like the thoughts that people had about volleyball like were much different. And especially when like the context is like mostly like women's volleyball, which is like, high impact. It's like super fun. And like, I don't know, our men's team was pretty legit. Won states a bunch of times. Like you guys had like some really, really good runs whenever you played. So
That doesn't matter though. So then you move on to Penn State. Now let's go backwards a little bit.
yeah.
So then you were involved in Young Life in Penn Hills,
Yeah.
junior leader. Give me a little bit of your
gosh.
looking back. What was that time like?
I thought for me, like one of the like really awesome opportunity for me, for my parents to just like make sure I wasn't like doing anything stupid and like being like a knucklehead.
Controlled stupid.
Yes, controlled stupid. Yes, actually, a very, very good point. So like controlled stupid. But the fun part I thought was like Young Life, beyond just like building like a really, really like wonderful foundation for my faith, like also connected me to like really, really awesome folks like in my like class that like I probably wouldn't have like connected with. And then two, like just I felt like unlocked like a creative like bug in me that I still feel like that I still see the benefits of today. So like,
Now, what do you mean by that? Because I don't know that everybody
Yeah.
understands
yeah, exactly. So
where the creativity and being involved in a youth ministry goes.
So with Young Life, a lot of it, and a lot of times that I would describe it, it's like it's part obviously like clearly like youth ministry. It's like evangelical like focused ministry, but like definitely like the like the I don't want to say like the drunk uncle of it, but like it's a fun rough it's for the kids who are like maybe rough around the edges, who wouldn't necessarily go to a church, but like they'd feel comfortable going to something like that. So
Yeah.
we had these sketches, and our leaders would come through. And we would write skits, and we'd think through like different ways to like creatively just like build like a really fun and like welcoming space for kids who like maybe again like wouldn't go to your like traditional youth group or church. So it was like it was SNL meets like youth group, and it was a blast. So we were writing a bunch of skits. I played guitar, which is like I think how Jay basically like got the hook into me, because I played guitar. They needed a guitarist.
Nice.
You always need a guitarist.
So always need a guitarist. So like I was like coming out and basically like playing like on Tuesday nights, and doing your 3 or 4 chord song like wonders, and
Isn't it crazy? You're 20 years out from high school. Just had his 20th high school
we were
reunion,
talking
which
about
is
that,
why
yeah.
he's here.
yeah.
And yet, like when you hear Brown-Eyed Girl,
Oh my gosh.
when you hear Free Falling,
C easy. Like free falling 100%. But I can feel my throat like getting coarse from like scream yelling like free falling.
good times.
But those times like they're incredible, and they're like beyond like the impact you have. Like you become like brothers with these people, like, and you would become like brothers and sisters. Like some of these people are like my favorite people in my life, and I thought the reunion was a fun opportunity to see that, because it's 20 years later and we're still cracking up about like dumb sketches that we were doing, like in so and so like person's like house or outside at some of like the fun events that we had, the camps that we went to. Stuff was a blast, man.
Do you remember this? Has nobody else cares except for me, and that's fine. But we were just talking about the one club that was, I don't remember whose house it was, but Chris Gongaware was wearing like a flag costume was he Captain Long John's was his name?
I think it was. Yeah.
Was it called Captain Long John's?
It was something like that.
He was like a combination of Captain America, but he was wearing long johns. And then the police came to the house we were having club to say somebody was illegally parked, and it was him who was up front in character at that exact moment.
Yes.
Joe actually brought it up because he remembered the story, and I was like, yeah, he was called Captain American Long John. That doesn't make. Were you around for Exoskeleton Man?
No.
That was pretty sweet.
Yeah, it was a good one, but. Yeah, just like think of like the funnest times you could have as a young like teen, like early adult.
And there's the insight, these characters, like that's the there's the creativity or part, one of the examples of like got to come up with some ideas.
Well, and you find out like really quickly, like, oh, like this bombed, or like like this is really good, and you like really quickly understand like how do you like captivate people, how do you like make people laugh, because I think comedy is a very like brave endeavor, and like to think that you can do it and like to put in some work into it, you find out real quickly like if you have the chops or not.
Did you guys similar to SNL, if something was a success, was it a recurring character?
If it was a success?
Yeah, if it was, did you bring anybody back?
Oh, you mean like multiple years?
Yeah.
Like the
Sure.
next year, let's do it again?
Well, yeah.
I have
Yeah.
over a career. But
Yeah.
you would never do it within any kid's 4-year high school experience.
Oh, okay. All right.
Because they've seen that. So
keep
like
it fresh.
Duct Tape Man, he comes around every 4 years, which is somebody in a complete duct tape costume that something breaks when somebody's up front, like the light bulb breaks or something, and then all of a sudden Iron Man comes on, and then Duct Tape Man comes walking in and just puts duct tape over the light bulb. So he always uses duct tape and never fixes it.
Right.
Pumpkinhead.
Pumpkinhead. I was going to say chicken
I've
head
seen
or Pumpkinhead.
Pumpkinhead.
Yeah.
Pumpkinhead is you can do
Some good
it
stuff.
could be the worst moment of Rachel's life. You put on a jack-o'-lantern on your head, she's good. She's good to go. And only once did we ever do that Pumpkinhead ends up meeting Mrs. Turkey Head.
Oh man.
I was going to ask about turkey head.
It's
love.
hard to find a turkey that big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the person that's willing to stick their head inside a raw turkey.
Wait, this
carcass.
has happened?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
we did it.
Because when they did
Oh,
it
yeah.
on Friends, I was like,
Clearly
okay,
not a
that's
real
not
turkey.
a real thing.
No, we did.
You can't really fit your head in. Okay.
I just
Mr. Bean
text-
did it too.
Just a quick aside to that joke. I remember we did turkey head, and I kept the turkey in my car. I had to go buy the turkey
I
before.
forgot about
I
that.
kept the turkey in my car, like leading into club, because I bought the turkey so someone could wear it like later on that night. And the turkey, it was like a super hot, like random, like October.
Oh my gosh.
And my dad's like mini, like Chevy Venture smelled like raw, rotting turkey. For like 6 months straight, and he
my
was
gosh.
furious.
Do you remember who that was?
It's
Was it Jess
understandable.
Rice? Or
I can't remember who it was,
do
but
you know Jess? Remember Jess Skehan?
no.
Okay. She's before your time.
Yeah, she graduated with Amy and I.
Yeah.
yeah.
She owns Mohins now.
Oh, nice. Good
And
chicken
Joe,
wings.
Joe and Bella both work there.
Oh, really?
It's a really weird world that we live in.
That's overlap.
Yeah, they're not a sponsor, but we still
Could be.
support them.
We do.
Shout
Very
out
much.
Mohan.
She's great. They're great.
It's all good.
It's my favorite restaurant.
So compare
too.
college to high school.
College to high school. Wow.
Where'd you go?
I went to Penn State. Go State. Shout out my lovely Nittany Lions who break my heart at some point every single year. Man, college to high school. It was. I think luckily it was a lot of the same. I feel like luckily like Penn Hills was such a big school that like navigating like a bigger school like it felt a little like daunting at first, but then
Yeah.
you start to make it feel a little smaller, and you're not as intimidated. Like there are some folks that like went to Penn State and they graduated with like 70 people, so like it was there's some
Oh, from high school.
Right.
yeah.
I'm
right,
sitting there
yeah.
going, what class of Penn State ever had 70 people?
And I was like, wait,
Like,
does he mean like in one major? Or?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway.
But it was a little bit of like some growing pains at first, but for the most part, like I felt like I hit the ground running. And I don't know. Then going to, not to get ahead, but moving to New York too. Like I enjoyed like Big Pond. Like it was. I like what it.
You've been a big pond guy.
big pond guy.
Fan of big ponds.
Love
Did
a
you
big pond.
say your major?
Communicate. I was PR.
So you were communications
Yeah.
right off the
Straight.
bat.
Are you the
Okay.
most successful communications major ever? No. Well, I'm just
No,
saying, because like
no.
communications
It's kind of a
is
joke,
like,
yeah.
like you get the degree in
No.
communications and it's like, oh, good luck.
I will say Penn State's comms program is like it's
Comms.
actually like if you do communications at Penn State, like it's actually like it's advertising or PR. But I do know that no shout out to people who do psychology, but it's there are majors that are like the catch-all programs. But yeah, there's some pretty heavy hitters in like comms from like PR, advertising and public relations. So
I do want to go backwards one step
please,
to maybe one of the worst moments of your life.
yeah.
We were at Young Life Camp.
When you stuck a turkey on your head.
I'm so glad I didn't have to put that turkey on my head.
A 90-degree rotting turkey.
I know exactly where you're gonna go,
Yep.
Jay. I know exactly where you're gonna go.
And so, two other staff guys, Jason Smith and myself, were in charge of the program. And so there's 600 high school kids, and you're just trying to blow them away. Like my character was a professional wrestler. I was Senor Pantalones, which is Mr.
yeah.
Pants.
Yeah.
And Matt was El Bugar, the booger. And Jason was Slug,
Slug.
which stood for stereotypical loser, ugly guy.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Anyhow, and so in the wrapping up of the whole program and everything else, we thought it would be hilarious. I don't even know why were you on it.
I was the.
Are you like a ninja?
I don't. Yeah, I was gonna say I was one of like the idiot like henchman that like has like some fumbling like thing, and then
So he zips into the club room on a zip line, a real zip line.
Yeah.
real.
And we thought it would be great if we just left him up there. Like it'd be so funny. Like for the last half hour, 45 minutes,
Which it was
of
funny.
this opera. Kids are like, that guy is still at the roof of this place, hanging from a zip line. See, you're laughing.
It was funny.
It's a great idea.
It's a good idea.
Looks good on paper.
Great on paper.
Bjorn, what happened?
My circulation cut off, and I just about passed out. I was probably
my
2 minutes away from fully passing out.
Goodness.
Oh my
So you had like a
gosh.
harness on.
Oh, yeah.
But it was like pulling up on you.
Full, all in the gutchies.
Okay.
In the down
And,
there's
got you.
in the down there's, and I'm not kidding. I couldn't think of like when your knee falls asleep or your leg falls asleep. I couldn't like walk for a good like 25 minutes. I was terrified. It was awesome. It killed.
And
but-
there's no way of him, like, he could say, hey, I'm dying up here, but that's breaking character.
Yeah, right.
So he just held on. And I mean, he can't signal anybody. He's 60 feet above the
He was,
ground.
he was really willing to
just owned it.
die up there
Owned
for
it.
the, yeah.
always committed to the pit.
Always
Still
committed.
As Tolino said when we ran the one fall weekend, down in his Lindsay Lohan's.
down in my Lindsay Lohan's. Yes, my joke that I wrote, by the way.
Did you?
Yeah, oh yeah, that's a good one.
We
Oh,
were
yeah.
told not to do it again.
Yes.
Young life's about crossing the line and then inching your way back.
Saying you're sorry after the fact.
Yes.
But yeah. But man, that's a good recall.
Oh, I felt pretty bad. I felt pretty bad about that, nearly killing a guy.
It happens.
Got to break a couple legs to make that omelet.
So then Bjorn goes off to New York City,
The Big Apple.
Yeah.
Williamsburg,
Well, yeah, I was in Williamsburg for a little
part
bit.
of Brooklyn, it turns out.
Yeah.
He's part of the whole gentrifying thing.
Yeah,
That was-
I did start out like early on, but then I mean, it happens to the best of us.
Do you
so.
guys know about bumper guards?
I love it.
No.
Bumper darts?
Guards.
Guards. What? I mean,
On your car.
are you talking about like
Yeah.
bug
Oh.
things?
I don't
No.
know. Well, yeah.
Oh, really, mister?
No, I mean, I get it because you live in New York and, like, I mean, everybody's just trying to inch their way into a parallel parking
Oh,
space.
interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
we got a smarty pants.
A
over here.
full inch? 2 inches?
of like rubber on there.
Yeah, like the
thickness? Oh, yeah,
heaviest
yeah.
rubber
Yeah.
you've ever. Like,
Yeah.
he pulls up in our house, and I'm like, the hell is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so thick. And if you don't,
Oh, well, my favorite part is that actual bumper stopper probably like over the years did more damage than like any like bunch of cars just like giving my like bumper a kiss or whatever. But if you don't, like you see cars who don't have it and it looks like
scratched
like a
out.
scratch board for like a
Yeah.
cat. Like it is just like absolutely just like wrecked. But it is, you'd call it like the Brooklyn kiss where you're just like backing up and it's just like boop, boop, boop,
Right.
boop. And you're like, and you're in.
And you're in.
And you're in. Very good.
Austin Powers style.
Literally, it's exactly like that.
see, I was going more Ross from Friends with just like, except he never hit anything. But he turned the wheel a lot.
Yeah.
What are the New York days like? Do you miss them?
Yeah, New York is great. New York is I know it's different now, and it's easy to kind of like be romantic about it, like after the fact.
Those were the days.
But those, yeah, see, we did do those are the days. All the
Well, I mean,
viewers
tell
and
me,
the-
Young
yeah.
Life wasn't the days.
I mean, if
if you go back and run a little Young Life club right now,
and we played some hits right there too.
did.
But yeah, I mean, New York is great, especially at that time too, because it's still. I know this is gonna sound crazy, but like it still was like moderately, maybe affordable, less affordable, but like accessible. So like you could still like enjoy, like you could still find a deal. You just had to like search a little bit. Whereas like now there are no more deals. Like there's too many folks who like know that like there's a game and a system to play. But you could still, find like a really, like amazing like hole in the wall restaurant, or like even like a decent restaurant where like they might have like some Thursday reservations, or you could go to concerts and they weren't going to cost an arm and a leg, and you weren't going to have like a line of like scalpers like buying up all the tickets before and then like overselling them. So like just little things like that. But it was a fun time. Like
it's funny listening to you say, like, it was still borderline affordable.
Yeah.
When every time you would come back to Penn Hills, you would we'd go to the grocery
Stock
store.
like it was in Mexico. I was like, what's the exchange rate here, man? This is amazing.
And I remember we had one of those cardboard houses in our basement for like the kids can color it and play inside.
Yeah, yeah.
And he was like, I could sublet that. I could sublet that.
$2,200 a month. Shared bathroom, maybe, but yeah, 2,000. Okay, yeah.
And
That is something.
Well, no, what did you always want? The chair
that
and a half.
That chair and a half, man. I still think about that. That was, God, this is
I
the
love
most
a good chair and a
comfortable
half.
Yeah.
Love a good chair. That's one of those things with some, I'm sure some like Brooklyn like vintage shop is like basically like reupholstered that and sold that thing for like $4,500.
What the heck is a chair and a half?
I mean, if you don't know,
It's Valhalla.
it's heaven.
Think of a easy chair,
Uh huh.
but it's a chair and a half.
So just wider.
Wider,
Wider,
deeper,
deeper.
cozier.
It's the depth.
You fell asleep in that a lot.
Oh yeah,
actually.
yeah.
How could you not?
Absolutely.
That's what it's meant for.
Both hanging out watching UFC or
Yeah.
in the middle of a Bible study.
100%. Easy. They were good studies. At least I mean, I don't remember half of them, but
We eventually banned him
Sleeping.
from the chair.
it's a good chair.
You were banned from that, and Maurice was banned from enjoying chocolate.
Oh man, that guy probably loves them some chocolate.
It was
still.
just too noisy.
Yeah.
So you were in Brooklyn.
It was Rachel
One of
be
the,
like,
one of the
"You can't."
smackers, big smacker. So I was in Brooklyn.
Sorry,
Yes.
my brain's on New York.
a-
You were in
yes.
Brooklyn. What years were you there?
2000. So I interned in 2007, but 2008 through 2020.
Oh, a long
2020.
time.
Yeah, so about
All right.
good 13 years, but was all over. I was in Brooklyn, so I know Jay mentioned Williamsburg, but I was in Sunset Park before Sunset, so I had some street cred. Then South Slope, and then
Don't let the Swedish name fool you.
yeah, I was like, this is not a college brochure face. Like there's some other like things in there, but in Brooklyn mostly, and then yeah, Prospect Heights, and then West Village at the end. And then
I believe you that
that's
those are
right.
all places.
Those are and then Mars toward
Yeah, we got a Mars here.
we do have a Mars.
Mars, Pennsylvania.
I don't care about the one Elon's going to.
That down by Zealy.
Yeah.
My God.
That'd be hilarious if Elon showed up at Mars, PA. He's like,
Was big.
Found it.
did it.
We did it.
This is easy, guys.
You know what? He missed it because he was at the Butler rally and then he was at the
That's-
Steelers
yeah.
game.
I wonder if he
Game.
drove through and
He
he's
should-
like, huh.
How does he not go there and take a picture?
We need to occupy this place.
Concerning.
So I'm fascinated by your first job because you worked for Starbucks
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and Heineken
yeah.
and Trojan condoms.
Yes, yeah.
That is a fun trio right there.
There's a couple others in there too.
And where did you
Just there.
intern? Before we get back to the funny stuff.
Yeah. So that's
I got to
actually-
get all the
that-
all the info.
that actually overlaps like directly into the place where all the funny stuff happens. So I interned at Edelman. So Edelman is it's the largest PR firm in the world,
Not to be confused with Julian Edelman, the football player.
Right.
but could be. You never know.
Could be really
good old slot receiver / like PR guy. But yeah, so Edelman, they had a bunch of different accounts, but I worked on mostly consumer stuff and then like lifestyle stuff. So yeah, my first day Starbucks, or my first big account was Starbucks, and then let's see, Heineken owned Dos Equis as well, and then Trojan. So Trojan Sexual Health, which was a blast. You think about like being like a 22-year-old kid, like fresh out of college, and it's like, hey, you get to talk about like sex and beer and like everyone's favorite coffee shop, like for a living. And I was just like,
That was
what?
not the early days of Starbucks.
Actually,
but
yeah, that's true. It's true. Because people did, it was it was a small business killer. It was a big gentrifying like symbol or whatever.
Yeah.
But it was
Till they hired Bjorn, turned that old image all the way around.
there's a lot of
Well,
other
I'm
people with
seeing
that.
these like direct connections with like Young Life skits, and like now here you are. I mean, were you doing similar-ish creativity type things, like coming up with ad ideas and stuff?
Yeah, so more so just like external like consumer facing campaigns. So it was either kind of taking what our TV marketing team was doing. So like the ads, especially in those early days, like the ads that you would see on TV or on the radio. So like the Trojan Man campaign, for example, like the Trojan Man.
Yeah.
So taking that and then thinking through like really fun, creative PR ideas around that you could speak to reporters about. You could find like a fun like social media like element to like basically just like taking like or a lot of times like just coming up with your own creative idea. So like, yes, there's a Trojan Man kind of like larger campaign and program, but also thinking through like from a PR standpoint, we can just do our own thing that is like outside of like what you would ever see on TV. So it was a lot of fun with Heineken, Dos Equis, same kind of deal. So Dos Equis had the most interesting man of the world campaign, and that
Which you knew him.
that was I knew Jonathan Goldsmith. Good, yeah, knew him very, very well.
You said to me once, you went, ironically, not that interesting.
Well, he was just like he would crack up about like he was just like, and he would always say this. He's just like, I'm a guy from Queens. I've just been like Jonathan's big trademark was like in those old spaghetti westerns. He was like the third guy that got killed trying to like beat up Clint Eastwood.
Wait, he's
And-
from Queens.
Yes.
So it does not have the European accent that he has.
European, I would say Latino accent.
Okay, okay. I couldn't remember what kind of accent, but he had an accent.
The beer is called Dos Equis.
But that's oh yeah. Well, no, but okay.
You gotta use your context clues.
You don't, context
You don't look
clues.
Swedish.
Los don't look Swedish. No soy Swedish.
Low energy, Chris. It's okay.
I feel like it's high energy. You know?
But it's still not Brooklyn.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
still
And
not
it's still not a spaghetti western.
It's definitely
Right,
not.
right.
Yeah. But he, the
Acting.
the big story.
Why was that so funny?
This is Chris. It was great.
I think it was just like the
finger point up. Yeah.
The leaking of his confidence as he said it too. Just acting.
Wait, let's get off of that.
That's funny.
But back to that.
Yeah.
In that, don't say that. I said that. Here you are. Okay, high school. You know, you commit your life to Christ. You're reaching out to people. You're learning how to build relationships. You're sharing the gospel by the way that you live. You go to college. You maintain that.
Yeah.
I do remember a couple conversations, but I can't remember them now. Point of the story is, now here you are in the business world.
Yeah.
How is it? You know, you shared. I don't even know if you remember this. You shared with me I want to say a crossroads of your faith in regards to those companies that you were supporting, and how it was conflicting in different ways. But how does it to be a young Christian man in a very secular world?
Yeah.
Having to do PR for companies that don't give a rat's ass about anybody except for profit, and they're certainly not considering Christ.
Yeah.
How was that evolution? And do you remember the quote?
I don't remember the quote. I would say, do you
The
remember
quote
it?
was, you
Yeah, go
said,
for it.
you know, I work for Starbucks, and I work, I mean, not work for, but I represent Starbucks, and I represent Trojan condoms, and Dos Equis, not Heineken.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
and he
Heineken.
goes, you know, with Trojan, I'm helping stop unwanted pregnancies. I'm helping lower abortions by controlling the number of unwanted pregnancies. I'm helping stop people from getting diseases and dying. He goes, on the other hand, I'm just getting people more coffee. I'm just making another CEO another dollar in his pocket. And I was like, oh, that is interesting.
Yeah,
Because you
yeah.
say, like, how dare you work for Trojan? Like, I'm saving lives over here.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Over
funny
there,
that
I'm
you-
just making a rich mother F for more money.
That you bring that up because while you were out of town this weekend, and our good friend Richie Reeder was preaching, and he was preaching on that exact topic actually of
Condoms? I can't leave for one Sunday.
I think he said condoms at least 100 times in his sermon. No,
But he
Jeez.
pronounces it with a U. Condoms.
it's very strange. No,
was
but
my
he was
father.
talking about like
Condoms is my dad.
vocations and living your living out your purpose through Christ. Yeah, but like in whatever vocation you're in, and like listening for that calling, and it's not it's not just like, oh, you're a pastor, so therefore you are the most,
Or I'm a Christian, I have to
spiritual
be
person
in ministry.
Right. Yeah.
When
So it's cool.
I forget, it might have been my brother, but it could have been somebody else when they came. I think it was my brother. He came to know Christ, and he met with a very famous Pittsburgh Christian person, Reed Carpenter. And he was like, I got to go into ministry. And he's like, no, Tom, no. And I know he's told many people this. He goes, no, we need men like you in the business world, being light in a very dark world. Back to Bjorn.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what it was, and that's for, whether it's my faith or like my identity as like a black male or any of like the other like major kind of points in my life that like are anchors and like guide like who I am. I think I've seen that you can have like a dramatic impact because when you are in those rooms, you see that like a lot of times those perspectives, not only are they maybe sometimes not represented, but like sometimes they may be like people may have like completely different like
Sure,
thoughts.
especially in that world.
Exactly. Like they may have completely different thoughts on like what those people like think and what those perspectives are that are like just either like ill-informed or like maybe just based on experiences that they had that like unfortunately like
Right.
weren't like good and positive, so
Well,
like
they've been hurt by
yeah.
people, quote unquote, like you, except not like you.
Not like yeah, or yeah. So that was really cool, just because it gave me the chance to like kind of like step into what I think a lot of people think is like the dream opportunity, which is like I might be the only person who they interact with that thinks this way, and I get to be an additive and like a good model of like what that could look like, versus like being just like another like person that like bumps them out or like lets them down,
Right.
So and that was fun, but it took a while to like when you're younger you don't necessarily understand that kind of impact that you'd have there, and like once you kind of figured out like, oh no, like actually being in that room is even more like valuable, then you can like, that's when the creativity comes, because you're like, oh cool, like I can like maybe like think about like this is how people expect, or like this is a campaign that someone would like zig with, and like that's when like some of the most fun like happen. I had an internship opportunity when I was interning at Edelman. I was picking between two places, and one was the Onion, and the other was Edelman. And I remember like going through the interview process with the Onion, and I remember them like basically them saying like, oh yeah, if you can like make skits that are funny for like a youth group, I'm sure that you're going to be like, you're going to be all right like doing it like once like the full like floodgates are kind of here. And I like kind of taken that like entire kind of like approach, and that's how I just bring it to my job and my day to day.
Yeah.
So yeah, and my life, not just like my job. So
That's cool.
Have you taken the relational needs questionnaire? Obviously, you didn't do it today before the podcast, like we normally do. But like, have you done it in the past?
I've done a bunch of like leadership. I haven't taken that one
Right.
specifically.
You haven't gone to lunchtimeinrome.com and taken our relational needs question.
How many times
have
have you
not.
watched the YouTube?
He knows himself, is what he'll tell you.
Third times, yeah.
But
I probably should.
So would you say like your top emotional needs, as far as the top 10 that we talk of, which I could give you a list, but I mean, I would say, knowing you like I do, attention would be one of them. You like attention.
Me,
yes.
my attentional, my emotional needs, or
Yeah,
the
your
ones that I
emotional
give.
needs.
Okay,
No.
got it. Attention. Okay.
Is it?
Keep going.
Let me list them.
Yeah.
Security. I would say probably not.
Mm.
Respect. Probably not.
No.
Belonging, being a part of
Yes.
something. Yeah,
Yeah.
see, that one makes sense.
No.
Acceptance, being loved even though you've made a mistake.
Probably.
Respect doesn't kind of goes EV. I mean, it's easy. Just explain
It
respect.
would be nice. Yeah. As I get older, I understand and like appreciate what respect. Like there's like a depth to that goes a long way.
What about between these two?
Yeah.
Encouragement, which is Bjorn, I believe in you.
Okay.
And support is Bjorn, let me help you.
Ooh, encouragement. I'm horrible at absorbing help until I like realize that like, oh crap, I like desperately need this, and if I don't get it, like I'm gonna like, I don't know.
But
fall
it's
off a cliff.
annoying to you at first because you want to just solve the problem or whatever.
I don't want to be a burden to people.
Oh.
That it's like fully like in burdening people to me is the I'd rather crawl into a hole and like starve before I like potentially burden someone or ask someone for something.
Would you call that belonging?
I call that acceptance.
Acceptance.
Belonging
yes.
is, hey, he
Yeah,
is
right.
a part of Young Life. Hey, he's a Nittany Lion.
Yep,
Hey,
yep.
he does this. Acceptance is, speak to that if you would, in your similarities.
Well, I'm very much the same, although I do have a high need of support. And you might too, you just don't know it.
Yeah.
But you might look at it in a way that it's like this redheaded stepchild that you don't like. You might have a high need of acceptance and a high need of support, but you don't want to upset anybody or, like you said, burden anybody because of your high need of acceptance. Meanwhile, your problem and your need could be met if somebody came alongside you and helped you.
Yeah.
I think that
'Cause
could
it
be
took
true,
me-
but knowing him like I do, I don't think he does.
Okay, because I'll
You're
kind
like,
of
no,
further.
just let me do it.
Yeah.
I'll kind of further my thought
Sure.
with that, because I didn't think I had a high need of support, because I like to I do like to figure things out on my own, or at least try to, and I would get worried if I got so far along in like a project or something and I felt like it was too late to ask for help. And
Which now that's the need for acceptance.
and then
creeping
that's
in.
my need of acceptance creeping in. So I wouldn't. So finding out that I had a high need of support and asking for help earlier along the line has really met the need for support and the need of acceptance, because I know like nobody's going to be upset for me asking for help. Like if I really do need it, I have people I can go to. So that's what it is for me.
Yeah, but your need of acceptance rang so true because like I don't want to be a burden to somebody.
Yeah.
Why is it automatically an assumption that it's a burden?
Exactly.
But you've always been fiercely independent,
And having
but yet, sorry for
no,
interrupting.
go
you,
for it, please. I interrupted you.
But the need of belonging.
Yes.
So I'm fiercely independent, but I want to be a part of something.
Oh yeah, yeah, and that like need for like a tribe, and that I love like accomplishing things with other people. I love like the process with other people, and it's like fun whenever you have like these solo efforts. But like to me, like being part of a team and like being part of like something that feels like we're like all in something together.
So you need
is
highly
incredible.
defined roles.
I'm okay with even like a little like ambiguity, but I just knowing that we all have like this, like we all have the same marching orders, or we're all like marching toward the same thing, like goes such a long way for me. But yeah, to your point though, like it's the burdening of like other people that I fear the most. But like,
Where does that come from?
My dad was very, very independent, and there are some like wonderful like nice sides to it where you like learn how to be like self-sufficient and you can kind of like be like really, really resilient. And then there's the other side of it, which is like, hey man, like the house is on fire and like you need help. And I'm just like, no, I can figure it out. I got it.
We
and
should
then,
call the fire department.
You were taught that like the right thing to do is just do it yourself.
not even the right thing to do. It's just like I did see him like figure it out so often. And,
Okay.
and like I think maybe that's like the we can get to like Jason Smith like full circle with some like good therapy like recommendations that he gave me back in the day. But like you when you're like so self-aware and like that you are like so resilient and you can bounce back like so many times. I think the fear is, or the like illusion is, you kind of think to yourself, oh my gosh, I really can like rebound from anything, because like honestly, like 99.9% of the time, like you do, but then there is that 1% of the time when you don't, and you kind of are in this place where like, crap, I need help, but I'm so used to like A, not wanting to burden people, but B, wanting to like overcome it because you're so grooved into thinking that you
When
can.
the asking is already failure.
Yeah, 100%.
Whether or not you get out of it or not.
Yeah.
So I can try to do this on my own.
Yeah.
And I might fail, but if I ask for help, I've already failed.
Yeah, and I think I've gotten to the point where I don't mind failing with like the thinking that I failed with the ask. Like I think I'm past that point where I care about that, but it is still deeply uncomfortable for me to feel like I am just like putting something on someone else that I just assumed that I could have done when like I clearly like I couldn't have. Like I probably need to give myself grace in the sense that like if I'm asking somebody for help, it's because like I tried literally everything. But then I think honestly the fear, Jay, is probably like, what if I ask for help and like they don't, or like what if they,
And that's that belonging.
yeah, like what if they don't want to be there for me?
You didn't care enough about me to help me.
Yeah,
Well, then I don't matter to you.
Yeah, like oh my gosh.
So
Like,
I was vulnerable
yeah,
and you weren't there.
exactly.
See, it's funny because that speaks like that rings true for me, that feeling. But I'm assuming for me it's respect, because I also don't want support. I don't want people to come help because I want, like Jay, for example, when you were saying that you've already failed if you have to ask for help.
Yeah.
Like that feeling is like, oh yes, I absolutely feel that. But I think in my case, it's like I want people to know that I can handle things. I want people to see me as someone who can
Right, that's
handle
definitely
things.
respect.
Yeah. It's interesting how you can have like very similar reactions, but from very different spots.
Just a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about appreciation? You like to be appreciated?
Yes, more than respected. Yeah.
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 How do you receive it? Like, what is it verbal? Is it like
verbal.
what that has the biggest impact?
Verbal. Of just honestly just voicing it, like putting it out in there.
What I was going to say, like, you not asking and you get something done, you're known as that guy. Like, he just gets it done. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which also can kind of like teeter along the respect need as well.
Yeah.
Getting out of the heavy stuff for half of a second. I do remember a time when you couldn't get it done. You would. Do you know where I'm going with this?
Volleyball.
Nope. No, that's another whole story. You weren't given the opportunity, and we're not going to go there on this
that's fine.
podcast.
That's cool.
We still hold grudges.
Just kidding.
It wasn't me. I'm telling you, it wasn't me.
Decent amount of
No,
time.
it was probably the shortest job you ever had, and maybe the worst day you ever had. And I want to know, is it still the worst day you've ever had?
Or so wait, so
It was a toy company.
There's a couple. Okay, yeah, Toys R Us.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would.
Man,
I
I
would.
miss Toys R Us so much.
So Toys
and I'm
R-
a 42-year-old man.
So, Toys R Us, first of all, rocks. There's not a person. I don't think, I'm not kidding. And I've worked with some like amazing companies, amazing brands. I don't think there is a more like legitimate like residue that like a company has, like from a memory standpoint with. Like a larger like generation than Toys R Us. Everyone has like this feeling of like waking up and going out, driving.
Those
out the
were the
door.
days.
Those were the days. You like get in the car. You
But
drive.
wasn't it your first day on the job?
It was okay, was the first day on the job
With the breaking-
wait, are you talking about the Toys R Us bankruptcy
No,
or like
no.
full
You're
on?
getting too businessy.
Okay, what was it?
The action figures.
Which ones?
It was one of it. As the story I was
gosh.
told, that may or may not be true at this point.
It was definitely whatever
It was one of your
probably
first
true.
days. They came out with the Breaking Bad action figures.
Oh my gosh.
They had those at Toys R Us.
And you were there. And like you lasted like a week. You're like, I can't do this. As
Where
the
was
story
he?
goes.
Oh my
Huh?
gosh!
Where was he?
Toys R
At
Us.
Toys R Us.
You were
what I
there.
said?
You were there. I just remember you calling me and just being like, I can't do it. I can't do it. Like
What?
I started and it was like, and every mom was calling in and complaining and
my
everything
gosh.
else. And
Yeah.
and you have to be the PR guy. Like, no, you don't understand. Meth labs are good.
I'll never forget. So Toys R Us in general is. So I was there for. I was a spokesperson for Toys R Us for
So
a
that's
year.
what brought them down.
It was yes, it was, yes. I have a good story for why I left Toys R Us. By the way, shout out to.
I thought it was
Toys R Us.
Breaking Bad action figures.
But you would think, oh, Toys R Us, like amazing job. I felt like I was there for a year. I felt like Tom Hanks from Big.
Big,
It
I was
was
just gonna
amazing.
say that.
It was
Yeah.
awesome. It was absolutely awesome. But the most like what I think what a lot of people don't understand is that job had so much crisis work because the parent advocacy groups who would like lobby and like make their voices heard,
like the old school cancel culture.
Oh yeah.
Like the old kind.
and it would like it would work too. Like it was full, like so one you'd have like these crazy toys that would sometimes like be like a lot of these toys are like basically for adults now, but
Right.
they're still like in children's aisles, and next thing you see like a Breaking Bad like meth lab toy or whatever, and it's like what are we doing?
Yeah.
So there's that. But then two, I would say even the more like wild thing is like Jay, like we had we owned Babies R Us, and the amount of recalls and the amount of like full on like advisories that we had to send out and share with different groups across the country.
For the baby Breaking Bad stuff.
No. For even worse, for like this baby stroller has
Playboy.
maimed like 8 kids' like fingers or
my
like
gosh.
this
and you're like,
this,
wow, the standard deviation. Though. I mean, if you look at the actual
get away from like
That's
3
a
or 4
really
of them.
low. Yeah.
This reminds
I mean,
me.
that is how
But
they
it-
make things.
but
I
it-
mean, that's
This reminds me of that really old SNL skit with Dan Aykroyd. And he's got the bag of glass.
Yeah.
For the kid. This is a bag of glass.
Bag of glass. that would be on the top 10.
But I mean,
list
I can't
easily.
imagine going to work and being like, wait, how many kids that he lost an arm?
Yeah.
And like, all right, Bjorn, get out there.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
it was lit- we,
that
uh,
would be a night.
Yeah.
Because talking
not
about
fun.
talking about high need of acceptance, like you're like the manufacturers and all they're doing something wrong, and then you're the guy that has to like put that on your shoulders
you didn't
and
build
answer
that
the
stroller.
Right,
Oh yeah,
right.
yeah. You were full on. You were a human
Oh,
meat
gosh.
shield for some of these.
Gosh.
programs.
Yeah.
I wouldn't stand a minute.
Yeah.
You just gotta point to it and say, "Look, it says right here, be careful, kid. It's a bag of glass."
It is. You get like
He's
really.
rallying. He's like, Eric said
energy.
something about bag of glass. I'll make a joke about bag of glass. That's all I got right now.
2 minutes after he said it.
I'm a little behind.
Yeah.
So, because this isn't a 3-hour podcast, what did you do
not.
for Meta? I was going to say Facebook, but it was Meta.
Yeah.
And that's when you moved out?
Yeah. That's when I moved out to California. Part of the team that helped make Facebook Meta, which is
that crazy?
Really,
Yeah,
really
that's crazy.
one of the coolest. I've worked on Olympic campaigns, Super Bowl campaigns, been to every major event.
Speaking
you
of
could
Bjorn,
think
you
of.
were in Scandinavia for the One Olympics, weren't you? You were hanging out with the whatever team.
Let's see. I was in. So that was Rio with the Dutch national team because
Yeah.
of Heineken.
Yeah. Hanging out with the Dutch
Yeah,
Nationals.
London,
Like you do.
just as we do. London for the Olympics. I've been to Oscars. I've been to like whatever you can think of. But that Meta like rebrand was like it was really really cool. It was massive. It was just absolutely
Yeah.
massive.
I don't even know
But
what that looks like.
I didn't. I mean, I worked on this. We had like a Starbucks rebrand for their 50th or 30th anniversary back in the day, but this one was just like on a different scale.
Did you do anything with regard to the Oculus now Meta Quest?
MetaQuest?
Yeah.
Yeah. Worked on that.
Because I bought it. I bought the Oculus 2, right about the time. Like when I bought it, it was still Oculus, but it was, I don't know, like
it over.
2 weeks later
Yeah.
that it was like flipping over. Yeah.
Yeah, those things. So that was getting back to the question. That was a lot of what I worked on, which was just like traditional, like big Olympics campaigns, big Super Bowl campaigns, but also thinking about how we like help to transition people into like what this new mixed reality like world looked like. So a lot of it was through the VR glasses. A lot of it now is like what they're doing with the cool like Meta Ray-Ban glasses that have like the video components in them. But it was
Those
cool.
are like the augmented reality thing, right? Is that
Those are part augmented reality, but also
I love it.
Oh no, you
also-
three are gonna have a great time.
but also part just like full on like video like and photo capabilities that are
Okay.
integrated
Okay.
with like the different like products.
And you don't do anything with Meta anymore.
No, I'm at Yelp, so
So I can ask you an honest question.
Yeah.
How do you see that going? Because like Google Glass failed
Yeah.
because of like people going into the bathroom with a video camera on their face and like that kind of thing. Like that's a
Interesting.
It's
Well, I mean,
Chris is like, is that frowned upon?
I thought that's what we're supposed
wait a minute. I would say I think I would revisit why that first initial project failed, because I think that one, I felt bad, but like it seemed like people were just getting like I don't know if it was like a wearable product that like made people feel as if it was just like part of like their daily routine. Like if you look at the Ray-Bans now, like the Ray-Bans, like the Ray-Bans,
where Google Glasses were like, I'm
Right.
wearing Google Glasses.
yes. So like part of like bringing people into like this cool new like reality is like making it feel like reality.
Right,
And
yeah.
I think that they were a little too maybe forward on like the future facing aspect of it versus
Yeah.
like making it something that just feels like you're just wearing, like it's just part of like who you are. That's like the big phrase that we would use is like just like embodied reality.
Yeah.
And, like, so it is like a thing that is just like it's there. You're just like in it, and it doesn't feel like you're in this like weird like mega
Yes.
thing. It's just kind of like just part of like
I
who you
feel
are.
like where we
doesn't-
are now, that's totally like the way
That's
to
the way.
introduce things, you know?
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's a completely different product, but I own a Tesla.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
like when electric cars were trying to,
You also owned a
Prius.
Prius.
Yeah.
Same.
Which is the
Shout out.
total like although have you seen the newer Priuses? They're pretty
pretty
cool
cool.
looking.
They're pretty
But
cool.
I will say, for a while, everybody who was making an electric car was like, oh, this has to look futuristic.
make
It
it
has
look-
to look different. It has to look nerdy. It has to look.
Yeah.
And then I think Tesla's, changed that.
Yeah.
And it
Well-
became like, well, this
Well-
till the Cybertruck.
Well,
that's very different. Yes. But yeah, like the rest of them are like, okay, this is just a car.
that
Yeah.
runs on electricity.
but I think the first generation of those like hybrid cars, like those people wanted other people to know that they were
Yeah.
driving a car to try to save the planet, or like, you know what I mean?
Right. I
You
guess
know?
so. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it follows like this like larger play, which is like you have to, like when you're building a new category, like you have to be like very on the nose at the outset, because like you like eyeballs and visibility and like building that equity goes a long way with even like bringing people who might even consider it, and then in that like kind of 2.0 phase, like that's when you're able to kind of make things, I think, a bit more accessible, and then kind of add more scale to it so that people feel like they're actually like part of something that can be like legitimately sustainable. And like I think you're seeing that now with not even just the Ray-Bans, but like a lot of people are like, oh, like what's going to happen when Apple releases their VR glasses? And I remember we were always like, heck yeah, that's great. The more people, the better, because then it means that
The whole
there's, like,
market grows.
Everything drives it. Yeah.
100%. So oh yeah.
because this isn't a 3-hour podcast, I want to fast forward
Wait, what?
out of employment,
Yes.
but it's just something you said to me today on the phone
You know?
blew me away because like last summer, Bella went to Los Angeles and I was like, oh, all right, now we're going to hear. And she's like, man, I want to move there. It was great. You know,
Yeah.
we didn't see any homeless people
Yeah.
and it was clean and we loved it and everything else. And I was like, well, that's not what I've heard about Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And before we said anything, you just went off and it's on just necessarily, he lives in Oakland.
Yeah, live in
And so
Oakland.
just tell us, like, what's it like out there for us Penn Hills folks and Nebraska folks, like breaking 90. And we hear all these stories, like, it's not as bad as everybody says.
No, it's not as bad as everyone says, but and I think that my context too.
I was leading in contrast, by the way,
Coming
because what
from-
you share with me is pretty bad.
I will jump into it, but I guess coming from New York City, and mind you, I moved there in March of 2020. So like, I mean, if you're
Wow.
if you're talking about like,
Wow.
you know, kind of like buying
Coming in heavy.
buying high, like
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
homeboy bought real high.
Yeah.
But yeah, long story short, coming from New York City where like there is just like foot traffic everywhere, there's police everywhere. Oakland is it's the Bay Area in general. San Francisco is included. They're right across the water from one another. It's a trip. It's definitely a trip. There are parts of it that are like really sad. They're like they're beautiful like wineries. There's beautiful like coasts. There's like all like the beautiful scenery. But there's also like when you're walking around, you got to be careful because you're playing this game of like, is that like dog poop? Is that we don't know?
Hate that game.
Yeah, it's not a fun game. No,
It's kind of lose-lose.
Nobody wins
Yeah.
that game.
Nobody wins
yeah.
that game.
So, and then, a lot of the other thing too is like a lot of stuff was like closing like at like very, very early hours. So like you're in the city, it's not a like cheap place to live. And you're just like, well, wait. If I'm coming into this place, let's say like big metropolitan area, I want to experience the best of like what it's all about. And if I just wanted to like be indoors all day, I just would, I'd moved in like no offense to Nebraska, but
Things
like
closing.
yeah,
I thought
like
you said
closing.
clothing.
No, yeah. Actually, clothing in San Francisco is basically optional, so that's a whole other thing too. Like there's a big like 10K race out there called Beta Breakers, and I will never forget. Someone was like, "Oh yeah, you're gonna see a bunch of people like nude," and I was like, "Oh ha ha ha!" Like you think like maybe
Like
topless,
nude.
like full on, just like
Running a 5K nude.
like not just nude without shoes on. And I don't care if any city, but like in the Bay Area, like not wearing shoes, it's like cool. Like do you want tetanus? Like what are we doing?
Seriously, that's crazy.
And it is wild. So like there it is just like a proper like plot twist of like moving from a place with 9.5 million people that is like, what a lot of people think is like, oh my gosh, New York, it's so dangerous. And it's like, it's not that bad. And then moving to like San Francisco and Oakland, and then it's just like, oh wow, like this is like we're it's a change.
It's very differently dangerous.
It's like a different like experience of
But like your car's been broken into a couple times.
gosh, 6,
6
7
times?
Yeah.
Wow.
6 cars? No.
Yeah.
And
6 times.
And do you,
Wow.
do you
And
call the police?
And it's just, well, you have to for like insurance purposes, but like the response is always like, hope we got good insurance, and like and it's everyone, so everyone's like going through this. So I guess I think the hardest part for me is the because again, there's
and
some
I don't want you. I'm not. I didn't ask you this
no.
to bash it, but
No.
it's like, okay, so that is real.
There-
the stuff that you hear.
Cool,
like,
because it's funny because you're like, it's not that bad. How many times your car get broken? 6.
I think because I think a lot of these American cities have changed, but I think the one thing that is like I think a little like was and is still very tough for me is like being like, hey guys, like my car's been broken into 6 times. I lived in New York for like 13 years. That never happened. It's happened here within the past like 18 months, like that many times. Wow. And everyone's just kind of like, oh yeah, but isn't that what every city is? And I think maybe it's because a lot of folks like maybe from that area haven't like been outside
Anywhere else?
I mean, you think it's like super transient, but like
Yeah.
California like sucks you in. Like California is one of those states where like I know people, especially a lot of folks who are from California, like this, you're like, why would you move anywhere else? You stay there.
It's
But
beautiful. I've been there. It is beautiful.
But that's the part about it that like it just because then it makes me like I'm like, am I the crazy one? Wait, and I'm like, no, this isn't good. This isn't like why?
Right.
No, I should be able to like drive and like not feel like my I'm gonna have like a visitor in my car or like again the poop thing, which like for me honestly is more annoying than the broken glass thing because I don't know, you at least you can clean that, like that is very fixable,
Right.
Like, you know,
You can also not poop in the street.
I mean, you could. That's a whole other thing. I'm like, yeah, someone please campaign on that. Make that your campaign
While you're
slogan.
running a 5K.
I will fund the super PAC.
Yeah, maybe if we were clothed during the 5K, we
Come
wouldn't
on,
poop so much.
just a thought, guys. But
And yet you said but that is a great contrast. You went from a place where somebody said to you, "Oh, there's a lot of crime." You're like, "Yeah, it's New York."
Yeah.
And now you're like, "Oh, it's great." It's no, actually, there's more here than there was there.
it would never that would never ever in a million years like even things like I would still go on the subway like literally 3 or 4 in the morning after like last call in New York and like not even think about it like
Right.
and not only that would be on the subway with like a bunch of other people and I don't know, a lot of times
Well,
it'd actually be like a party. It'd
When
be
you
fun.
think about it, like it's math. Like I mean,
Yeah.
you'll hear some bad news in New York, but I mean, think of how many people are there.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah, invariably.
Something's gonna happen, But
But yet you would go on the subway at 3 in the morning.
right,
Yes.
And the subway is not so great.
Yeah, Bart,
SEPTA?
Bart,
Oh, Bart, sorry.
and
Bay Area.
Yeah, Bart
SEPTA's
and
Philadelphia,
Yeah,
sorry.
I was like, wait, what?
Sorry.
But yeah, but
My
Bart.
Department of Transportation days for college. BART, Bay Area Regional Transit. Thank
A
you.
little bit of a.
Oh, wait, what's our bus system called in
Pat.
Pittsburgh? Oh, you
yeah.
are
You're
so
so
not true.
last
taking
month.
the
Dude,
taking this.
we rebranded.
You don't take the 71B to Monroeville Mall
You might
anymore?
take the 71B, but it's not Pat.
Wait, what is it now?
I forget. What is
They
it?
rebranded, spent a couple billion on it.
Jeez Louise, could
I don't even
Yeah,
know.
it's not Pat. It's like
Pittsburgh Regional Transit, PRT.
PRT?
Okay, that sounds right.
I don't like that.
No,
I
it's
want,
terrible.
I want my heritage back.
pretty young day.
Put the wrong thing. Bart is less.
Yes, Bart, not so much. I mean, some Simpsons jokes or whatever. But yeah, but I mean, and even Bart, I think Bart closes at like it closes like right shortly before.
We have
like,
no
midnight.
crime from 11 p.m. until 6 in the morning. We've never had one crime. Are you
but-
open? No.
But then you think about like if you want to go to a bar, like there's a game on or something like that, like you feel bad for the restaurant staff because like then a lot of those guys like have
Those
to
are the
take,
money makers.
and they got to take
Yeah.
Ubers home, and like Ubers, you're talking like, oh cool,
that's-
I just did that, I got to spend $45 now to get home, and that so
And then they leave a negative Yelp review, and then Bjorn's got to deal with it.
I got to deal with it, and now I'm at Yelp.
Hey, we're already past a lot of time.
Yeah.
What have we left out that you would like everybody who sits with you at the table each week to know, to know?
yeah, to know
Acting.
acting.
Broken glass.
Yeah, I know we had some fun. I don't know why that was so funny. We've had some fun tonight talking about Pittsburgh and how it has been an impact, had a massive impact.
Yeah,
on
coming
my life.
back. How different is it?
It is wild.
You're like,
It's
I remember no poop.
It is wild. It is wild. I did see poop a couple places.
My bad.
But I knew it. but yeah, it was like I played the hits the last couple of days. It was so much fun.
Oh, yeah, you said you-
Oh my gosh, like going to like Triangle Subs, going to the
Triangle Subs,
going
yeah.
to downtown, going to Oakmont, going down to Verona. I've had more Turners than
Did you
like
go
I
ride
probably
the Ferris wheel? Is that still down there?
Wait, where's the
It
Ferris
is.
wheel?
They put one on the Clemente Bridge just for fun.
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, I saw that.
Well, that's not nostalgia.
Yeah, that's not.
Hey, sorry.
Yeah. We think, geez, Louise. No, I'm just kidding. But it was fun, and yeah, it just made me appreciate and like fully wrapping this up nicely and connecting the dots. But Jay, I can't imagine like my life without you, and so much of. And I like sincerely mean that, and so much of like what made this place so special, like so like wildly special, and all these like funny like dumb inside jokes and like hilarious talks that we've like all had that like you guys don't even know about, but still like crack you up. Like so many of them like are like literally like anchored to this guy, and how like there is like such a you talk about like the Belichick like Bill Walsh like family tree of like people that like come out of that, and like the like the vines, like Jay's is
The good guy tree.
good guy tree. It's good guy tree.
See
I
Jay's
love that.
chest puffing up.
But here's what
But
you need to
puff it a
know.
little bit, man. Go for it. Heck
You
yeah,
need
man.
to know. It was what maybe 2 years ago. I reached out to him and we were just checking in, and he just like that thanked me, and what an important part. And I was like, really?
I think of him every day.
And he was like,
I'm not
it's meant
kidding.
the world to me. And it was at a moment where I was down. Like, I don't know if it was one of the times where they were coming after me when I was coaching or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just that
Yeah.
moment where out of the blue, he was like, I just need you to know how much you meant to me. And what he just said now, he said to me then. And I was just like, man, I needed it in that moment.
Yeah, that's awesome.
No.
You know what else is awesome?
God's awesome.
Our God.
Oh, not me. I don't have anything in front of me.
What's awesome was episode 263. How's that?
Smooth transition.
Nailed the dismount.
Next week, you can join us live on Wednesday at 8:45 for episode 264. Between now and then, do what Bjorn's going to do. Give us a like or follow. No, sorry. Give us a like or
I'm
follow
glad
on
most
social
people sign
media.
off by
Visit us at lunchtimeinrome.com. And while there, do what Bjorn's going to do and take our relational needs questionnaire. Thanks for joining us at the table for Lunchtime in Rome.
See you next week.
Later, guys.
Bye.